Because I hear about this thief, burglar. He broke into a house in the middle of the night. And as he was, stealing the stereo, he hears a voice. And the voice says, Hashem is watching. He goes with the flashlight all around. So, who said that? And then he noticed a parrot. I said, were you talking to me? I said, yeah, I'm warning you. Hashem is watching. He said, what are you talking about? Who are you? I said, my name is Moses. Moses. What kind of crazy people name a parrot Moses? They said, same kind of crazy people that name a 150-pound Rottweiler Hashem. I want to talk to you today about a lifetime of learning. Okay? A lifetime of learning. And I gave you a little bit of a preview of the topic of this parsha before. I was talking about the life of Esau and Jacob, and the fact that at one point the Torah noticed that they grew up, right? But the thing is, it makes me reflect about something that is very common in life. And I think it happens to all of us to a certain degree, that we reach certain level, right? We attain a goal, and for some reason, at different stages of our life, for some reason, we decide to stay there. We made it. We reach our goal. We are happy with the place where we are. And I was reading some statistics, and it's interesting because I would like to know how this applies to Canada, but nevertheless, I was reading one study that was done in the United States that it says that 50% of people who graduate from high school, they never read again a complete book unless they have to. It's very interesting numbers. 50% never read again a complete book unless they have to, right? And I realize that it's because for some people, learning is a period of their life. When you go through that period to learn, and they don't realize that for Judaism, learning is not a period of your life. In Judaism, learning is a way of life, which is not the same. You see, we go through, when we are kids, we go through the school systems. So we have teachers, we have coaches, we have exams. So we have to study, right? We have to. Otherwise, we get in trouble with our parents, or we don't pass the exams, and we get into more trouble with our parents. And then we feel somehow that when we are out of a system where you have to pass an exam, you are accountable to somebody, then that's it. We don't have the obligation to study anything else. I already have a job. I already have a life. I made it. I attained my goal. I'm going to stay here. But what the rabbis are teaching is that learning should not be something that you do because you have to pass an exam. Learning is something that you should do. You should engage in learning because it's your responsibility. It's something that is beneficial for your life. Before you have probably your parents taking care of that for you, but then now that is on you, is your responsibility to continue engaging in a lifetime of learning. So let's go back to this parsha. Let's see what happened. This week's parsha, it clearly says, Va'igdelu haneharim. It's talking about Jacob and Esau. Va'igdelu haneharim, and the boys grew up. And it's interesting. He said the boys grew up, and Esau became a hunter, while Jacob was a simple man dwelling in tents.
Yitzchak. You said Jacob. Isaac.
Sorry?
Isaac.
Jacob.
Jacob? Oh, sorry.
Jacob. Esau and Jacob. Yeah, Esau was a hunter. Jacob was a simple man dwelling in tents. But then I went to the Midrash trying to understand what that verse means. And the Midrash Rabbah, brings something very interesting. He said, And the boys grew up. That is the age of bar mitzvah, by the way. That's what the Midrash says, but maybe that's for another sermon. But then it says, Esau became a hunter while Jacob attended to the house of study. It's interesting because the Midrash says that up to age 13, both boys went to school, came back from school. They did because the parents sent them there. Those days, age of bar mitzvah, I guess Isaac had a conversation, a pep talk with the two of them. Said, boys, you're a bar mitzvah now, and whatever you do with your life is on you. Esau said, that means that I don't have to go to school anymore? No, you don't. Okay. He went and celebrated, and he decided to do other things. While Jacob, the Torah says, dwelling in tents. What does it mean? He kept going to school to go and to grow and to be in the next level on his learning achievements. Interesting thing is, what happened right after that is when Jacob bought the birthright of Esau for a plate of food. And you were thinking, why would Esau do that? Didn't he realize the consequences of his actions? Because then he realized and said, what have I done? And then the rabbis explained that that's why we have to keep studying constantly. Because if we neglect learning new things, because the world is constantly changing, if we don't keep learning, we have more chances to make mistakes. And that's why we learn about the big mistake Esau made in his life, because he decided not to continue studying the way Jacob did. Esau said, why do I need a birthright? I'm going to die anyway. And Jacob said, are you kidding me? You know how much you can do with that? Because we are not talking just about the physical birthright. We are talking about the spiritual legacy. We are talking about what you are going to do with the world. Everything you do for other people, all the goodness you do, all the tzedakah you give, you're going to make an impact. And that is going to continue in this world even after you die. But why do we learn all these things about Esau, all these failures, right after that moment? And the rabbis say, because he neglected or he failed to understand that we have to constantly increase our knowledge to improve our odds of not making mistakes in life. There is no such a thing of staying at the same level. If you don't keep growing, you don't stay at the same level. You keep going lower. And I remember the story, you may know it, about this donkey who falls into a well. And there was no way to take him out. And then the owner of the donkey gave up and said, I cannot get him up. So I said, better bury him. So I start throwing dirt into the well to cover it. I said, they give up. But then he realized that for every time that he will shovel, one shovel full of dirt into the well, the donkey will step top of it. And then he will walk with another shovel, and the donkey will step top of it. And another shovel, and the donkey will step on top of it. And it was getting higher, higher, and higher, until eventually the donkey was able to make it out of the well. And the rabbis compared that well with a life. We feel sometimes that we are, buried in a well. And the dirt is coming over us, right? If we stay where we are, eventually that dirt is going to cover us up. And we are not going to be relevant anymore. But if we do like the donkey of the story, with every dirt, with every challenge, with every situation that we learn the lesson, then you step on top of it. And you get higher and higher and higher. This week's Parsha is a beautiful reminder of what should be the life of a Jew. We have to understand that for a Jew, Learning is not a period of our life. Learning is a lifestyle. The same way that Jacob, our father, proved to us that doesn't matter at what stage of our life we are, we have to constantly learning more. And not because somebody is obligating us to do it, but because we understand that it's beneficial for our lives. Shabbat Shalom.